What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Diablo 4 build video. And today we got a little interesting Necromancer build, and it is what I call the Frozen Tundra Necromancer. So something that I've picked up on that not a lot of people are doing is showing their stats, and I feel like that kind of gets away from, the authenticity of showing how a build does its damage. If you're kind of looking over your build, you can kind of compare the two and be like, oh, this is why this person's doing more damage. If you don't really understand the nuances of building a Diablo 4 character. So I'm going to show you the stats, I'm going to show you the gear, the glyphs, and talk about what makes this build kind of good. And I'm going to go over some other stuff that I think is interesting about this build. Let's get to it. First off, the gear. Just gonna hover over the pieces. And the talisman is the piece of the Black Shroud set. And then in the center we have an extra charm slot. Could be a better heraldic seal here. And then we have Wendigo brand. I've been trying a lot of different things out, but I'm trying this right now and it feels pretty good. You get a lot of increased damage, especially if you're kind of speeding through areas. So it feels pretty good. There's obviously some other variety you can put here. You can do whatever you want. You could do the one that increases damage every so many hits, or there's just a lot of variety that you can put here. So, and for the glyphs, we have the Mage, Dominate, Warrior, Abyssal, and Gravekeeper. So I feel like a lot of people kind of go up for straight up damage nodes. But if you're struggling with Paragon points, I think it's essential to grab some of these nodes where you only have to put so many points to get the additional bonus. And then you do get a big bonus to the rare nodes in your area. Why that is important, for example, is something like this. This generally is about, what, 20 to 30 damage to elites %. So we're getting a ton amount of damage here from just having this simple bonus to rare nodes. So I think that's something to consider, especially if you're struggling with, damage, or not, like you don't have enough Paragon points. I think those nodes are really good to invest the levels into. Here are the stats. So here are the skills that we're utilizing. And here's the Book of the Dead. Okay, so for the most part, you can kind of just run around and let your mages and your skeleton warriors do the damage. I would keep Corpse Tendrils up as much as possible because it's going to give you Fortify, which is going to increase your damage. And it's going to do a lot of other things for you. And when you come to the more difficult enemies, your bosses, stuff like that, you want to get your Overpower stacks. With Fortify, our Overpower stacks are increased by 3. So we have 7 Overpower stacks. Now, what is Overpower? Good question. So what overpower does is, let me get a couple stacks here. Overpower increases your damage by so much damage percent per stack, and it has a duration on it. So as long as you're hitting with your overpower generator, you're going to be granting more overpower, granting more damage. So that's why it's good for single target. A lot of the time, you're going to have to hit enemies for this to work. So hitting smaller enemies, you have to like lock on and actually hit them to grant overpower. So I definitely recommend it more on the more difficult enemies, your elites, your bosses, any of those tricky kind of creatures that you have to fight, or even like the skeletal barriers, stuff like that, that has a high health pool. You're going to want to constantly generate your overpower stacks. So what if you don't have the unique Hand of Nas, you don't have the Undercrown? Well, no problem. So these were the original pieces of gear that I had for the set prior to getting the uniques, but they're super easy to farm, so I can even tell you where to farm these uniques. You farm the Undercrown at Duriel, and you farm the Hand of Nas, I believe comes from Varshan. So that's where you get those two. They're super easy. But anyways, back to what I was doing earlier. So before that, I had this legendary helm with every 6 seconds you gain 1 stack of overpower. So what that does is when you reach 7 stacks of overpower, you no longer have to cast Hemorrhage to keep up 7 stacks. 7 stacks is going to drop to 6, and then it's going to go back to 7. Because you're keeping that, you're going to be able to keep the overpower stacks up pretty much all the time. So all you have to do is get your overpower stacks at first, and then it keeps it up. This is something I learned from a streamer, by the way. And then for the gloves, I just went for, you know, a variety of different good stats. You got your intelligence, you get crit strike chance, vulnerable, and crit strike damage. Putting summon damage on there. You're tempering summon damage, so it's pretty good as well. And that is about it. So if you do not have the Undercrown or Hand of Nas, definitely do something similar to that to keep your overpower stacks up, or you could do essentially whatever you want. Now, this build isn't complete because there are a lot of things I would like to try to see if it improves the viability. And well, if it does, maybe I'll make another video. But until then, I hope you got something out of this video. Like the video if you did get something out of it or enjoyed it at any point in time. Comment down below, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. See you, goodbye.